All right, welcome back to the Just Some BS podcast. Today we have Adam Marsh on. Adam, thanks for coming on.
Absolutely. I appreciate the opportunity.
So, Adam, I like to read from people's LinkedIn bios. It's president at Ledge Inc.,
Yep.
CEO, 80/20 quality, leading practical AI adoption, which we'll get a ton into. The one thing I would like to ask is can you kind of summarize your career in under 90 seconds?
Sure. Industrial engineer out of Penn State, left and started working in manufacturing and consulting primarily at St. Onge Company. After 5 years, had the opportunity to go out on my own and work with not only myself, but my dad, doing quality and manufacturing consulting all over the country. Since then, we've grown to a team of 10, focusing on quality management systems, implementations, and support for manufacturers. And now we're really pivoted and been able to jump on sort of some of the AI options. And I'm sure we'll dive into how we're able to help there and be the right kind of connector for that industry.
Yeah. Well, that's amazing. So you have a huge engineering manufacturing background. So you probably walk through shops and just go, problem, 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 problem,
Yeah.
efficiency, efficiency, efficiency.
It's hard not to like be like, oh, hey, I got 500 ideas for you right now, right? I have to kind of slow down sometimes and
Yeah,
deliver.
because it's probably a little scary, especially for customers that you're working with, because that's a lot of change, especially when they've been doing things for a long time.
Yeah, and you'd be surprised, especially when you hit the manufacturing floor. Most of them are like really good on the
Mm.
manufacturing floor. We spend more time fixing the back end processes than where they're, and that's stuff that's costing them a lot of money that is kind of hard to see.
Mm. Is that more front office or quality on the back end, or yes?
Yes, absolutely. It's a lot of opportunities for them to look for that low hanging fruit of things that are, they kind of fix every day. And I would
Mm.
say good manufacturers, at least Central Pennsylvania is notorious for this. We've got guys who get stuff done,
Hmm.
but that doesn't mean they always do it the easiest way, right? And so they will continue to do things the wrong way or just to deliver on time, and they just keep doing that and banging their head against the wall. And they might not slow down to fix that issue, where they could fix it and it never be a problem again.
Yes, that's fascinating to me. I came from the power construction world into manufacturing, and so that whole process, like I don't know how to do pretty much everything in the shop. That's why I'm doing like half my summer out in the shop, but just to
Yeah.
learn some things. But having the ability to not get bogged into the way you've always done things and be like, why do we do this? Like it's a really stupid question, but like I don't know the answer. And then it just starts like unlocking like, oh, I don't know. I don't know why I walked past that for 15 years.
That's where getting that outside perspective, right, is
Yeah.
really important, and looking for those opportunities. I absolutely commend you for going to the shop to work.
Mm.
I would say and I just talked about this yesterday. One of the most pivotal things that I did was as an intern. I interned at a union shop, and over the summer I was doing solving engineering problems for them. But I was also their like go-to guy when guys went on vacation.
Nice.
So hey, laser operators out for a week. You're running the laser for a week. And what a great opportunity for me to move around that shop and actually like execute and run equipment and see what it's like day in and day out. And I think everybody in leadership and in engineering really needs to be willing to go spend some time actually cutting parts and doing those things.
Yeah, and I think a lot of manufacturing is probably internal promotion. Like I know a lot of our team have spent a lot of time on the floor, so I'm the odd person out. So I'm kind of going backwards into that and trying not to screw things up, and being completely what's so great is like when you get out there and you just start really asking questions and people wanting to share their
Yeah.
knowledge and understand and show the process and stuff like that. Like it's quite humbling experience as well.
You realize how smart these guys are. Manufacturing is not like you don't want to go to college, like go into manufacturing, right? Like it's this easy. No way. It's for smart people, and you get to use like cool science and tech to do hard things,
Yes,
right? And so it's
I totally agree.
we've really been trying to push that at that message at the manufacturing association, right? That it doesn't have
Yeah.
to be down and dirty, right? It's high tech. It's you want to use science and math. Like here is applied science and math to do cool things in the world.
Yeah, I mean, one of our core values is creativity, and
Yeah.
I think that like people ask themselves why, but like it's artists. manufacturers, especially like metal fabrication, like we're doing, we're taking raw materials and turning them into like final products that could like produce food. It's insane to me.
That's funny. One of the projects I worked on was I was helping this is an industrial coder, really address one of their biggest issues, which was rework,
Mhm.
right? I mean, they were spending hundreds of thousands of dollars on rework. And so our focus was, if we eliminate rework, we don't have workers anymore. We've got craftsmen. And so we
Mm.
implemented a craftsman bonus, right? Where we really figured out, hey, we've eliminated all this rework. And the great part was we actually offered to split it with the painters, right? Anything that we stopped, right? So we knew what we were spending and what we cut in half, we split it with them. And so not only did they get a bunch of money in their pocket, right? Because they're throwing up their hands saying, hey, this doesn't look right. Let's stop it now. Our throughput went through the roof,
Sure.
right? Because we weren't reworking stuff all the time. So, putting a handle on that and then paying people to be that craftsman, right? Incentivizing them to be that craftsman, critical.
Does it surprise you, or have you had enough experience with that incentive side of things that the wrong incentive, the wrong approach to incentives or commissions or bonus structures on the wrong things can completely deteriorate what you're looking for
Oh yeah, you
without even knowing it?
yeah, those things, number 1, I don't like to say we're gonna promise this incentive program because and I would say I'm guilty of this with my own team,
Oh,
of
me
I
too.
still haven't figured out the right incentive program, right? And I probably try you have to ask, when our team is in sometime. I think I've had a new incentive program every single year, right? And I was like, "I think I can make
Dude,
it better. I think I can
you're
make
my
it."
spirit animal.
But, like, I wanna do one.
Yeah.
I just wanna make it the right thing, and so we just keep tweaking it and just keep tweaking it, and so that you have to be willing, number 1, to bite the bullet when you probably did it the wrong way, right? And then 2, be willing to, hey, experiment and have a team that trusts you enough to
Mhm.
say, "Look, I'm trying to do the right thing. I'm trying to incentivize you the right way."
Yes, I'd love to have a deeper conversation around that because I that's probably one of my biggest failures in SWF is creating this incentive program that I think I was smart enough in math to figure out, and I clearly wasn't. And then a month into it, realizing this isn't going to work, and having to pivot back and say, "Here, we're going to do a bonus for now." Until it took me in just 2 years, not in just 2 years, but 2 years later, I finally had the eureka moment
Yeah.
and spent an entire morning in ChatGPT for 4 hours, like just so peeing, right?
Yeah.
And then I sent that to a really good friend who does financial modeling. And I said, "Can you turn this into something that's actually doable?" And that's what he's doing right now.
Interesting. So I would say one of the biggest hurdles there is the data collection, right? So
Yes.
if I'm trying to do an incentive plan, I have to have a good way to collect data behind it. And then looking at how I'm collecting that data, how granular and how accurate that data is, because you'll get people who, and I've never had this on my team where people are like gaming the system or something like
Yes.
that.
I hear you.
But people certainly could do that. So you have to kind of be cognizant of how do you avoid that part of it. I think once you start getting it to a pretty high level, and I don't like doing individual incentives, I really like doing team ones
That's what we're doing. Yep. There's one
because
equation, right, that we all work through.
yeah, and I think it really then helps to supplement that teamwork,
Mhm.
aspect. So I would say that's you got to focus on something that they can see too, and that's
Correct.
been a struggle for us. Is I've tried to tie it to dollars or days, and it's been a tough thing for my team to see. And this year we finally have been able to deliver on essentially hours and say, here is
Mhm.
the hour goal. Get to this, right? Get to this weekly, get to this monthly, get to this quarterly, and we're happy. And I think that's been a big deal to kind of set that stage and set the expectation for the team.
Yeah, it's really good. I struggle with the same thing because it needs to be simplistic, it needs to be understandable. So, because people will play the game as long as they understand the rules,
Yeah.
but you have to be able to take something like I want 6 data metrics, right, that are important to me.
Yeah.
But that's complex, but then you have to scale that back into simplicity of collecting the right data, being able to present it, and then understanding the rules against that. So that you're right, that is the hard part, especially if you want to something that if everyone can affect, because
Yeah.
then it's really a game and you're like, you really focus on the little things. So I'd be glad to have a longer conversation. I'll
Yeah.
send you my SOP and you can be like, this is horrible or not. So I'm totally cool with that.
Yeah.
So
I love using the ChatGPT though to help like work through that thought process. I mean, it's a partner in that, and that's a great place to start. Yeah.
if anybody takes anything from this entire conversation, I would say treat it before you go talk to any expert. just start with it and have a conversation like a friend that's really smart at
Yeah.
anything.
Yep.
Because, like, even if it doesn't give you the solution, your SOP or your SOW, your scope of work is going to be so much tighter, which means you're not going to have a back and forth with an expert, which means you're not going to waste all that money on discovery.
Yep.
And you can go right to, can you do this?
So it's a great example of I've been more willing than ever to do projects that I never would have done before because I have a partner that doesn't make fun of me when I ask a stupid question. All right.
1000%, dude.
So so like I will go, I mean, my wife and I did a kitchen backsplash. I am not the most handy engineer on the planet. And my wife is an art teacher. And so she's gonna pick like a complicated tile. And so we did it in a weekend. We've been pushing this off for since 2016 when we moved into the house.
Yeah,
And
gotcha.
we just did it this year in a weekend. And I had 2 tiles left at the end. And it was all because I had the confidence to do it. I was much happier with my math,
Mhm.
right? Because I had the backup and I could ask questions like, "This isn't going well. What do I do?"
Yeah.
So that was amazing. And then I just posted a video. I don't know if you caught it. I tried. I learned to weld in college. I am a
Mm.
poor welder. Okay, and so, but I would love to spend more time learning. Okay,
Mhm.
and so I bought a welder because I needed to do something with one of my tractors at home. And I said, you know what, this is a great opportunity to learn. Well, ChatGPT helped me figure out what to buy, all the equipment.
Yep.
And then I welded and it looks horrible, but it's holding. I call it a farm weld, right? And so, I said, you know what, I should take a picture of it and see what it says. And it inspected my weld and told me to immediately rework it. Right.
Grind that baby out.
It's like, no. And so I said, wow, that's pretty interesting. So I just posted a video probably last week. I built a weld inspection tool. So you can take pictures, give it context like your weld procedure, what type of
Mm.
welding material you're using, drop in pictures and let it look at it and give you advice. Right. So imagine that you're maybe a manufacturer and you don't have weld experts in house, but you send something out for weld and you're a little concerned or a little so you can take a picture, upload it, and get advice. For me, it was telling me, hey, you really need to up your speed, and so it was giving me that back and forth. And I think it's just really cool to have that, number one, instantly, right? But two, be able to ask that question and like, I didn't have to call an expert. I have that expert in my pocket.
Dude, that's fascinating. So our minds must think very similar because I just started building a root cause analysis with the same concept,
I
right?
have
For
one.
safety. Oh, okay.
Yeah,
So you did the same thing. So I'm taking incidents, all the narratives, pictures, plugging it in because I want a root cause, which is really hard to get to as human beings because our fears get in the way, whatever. And
terrible at
then
it. Yeah.
suggestions to help it never happen again.
So I actually start with having a company sort of let somebody brain dump in. Here's
Yeah.
everything that happened. Right,
Beautiful.
and then I make them upload pictures or anything they've got. They've got any document, though, you can give me more context. And then I make them walk through a very simple fishbone, right? So, like, hey,
Hmm.
what man could have been the issue, right? And I want them to put things in like they would put things in. And, if you've got a manufacturer, they're gonna say, "Well, Jeff on the CNC machine doesn't know what he's doing."
Yep.
Right? And so, okay, put that in. It's fine. We'll let the AI tool interpret that and then help us drive the solution. So the first thing I do is send it to make a really good problem statement, right? And so make that problem statement, and then I actually send that to say, okay, use that plus all the context to deliver a 5 why for me.
Yeah.
And so I have it do that, and then I take that to that next step of give me some suggested corrective actions. It is beautiful for that, and I tell you, your customers will appreciate that so much when you're delivering corrective actions that are actually effective. And
Yes.
actually, it's not, hey, we're going to retrain Jeff, right? It can't be that.
Mm.
And so you can get to that sort of deeper level with it.
I may have some questions for you around that then because I'm
Absolutely.
down that process and I'm just like, I mean, a million. I'm with you. Like my mind just like doesn't sleep now because I'm like
Yeah.
writing myself notes. I have a daily task advisor for the shit that's coming out of my head that I'm just like, I take this down because I don't know if it's going to leave my brain, and then I go do something else.
Yeah.
Fine.
I'm trying to build what I would say is like one tool per week,
Mm.
right? Because it lets me slow down a little bit, kind of think of, and I really have to think of, okay, what is my end goal? Like,
Yeah.
what do I want my output to look like? Cool. What are my inputs going to be? And then build the tool in between. And by the way, the biggest trick here is you use ChatGPT, you use
To
the
build it.
AI tools to build it, right? So it's going to coach you through all that and help you. Did you consider this? That has been sort of a really a game changer for us, where I'm able to think through those processes and identify things that are good use cases, because that's been a problem across the board when I talk to people about AI. Is number one, they don't think about a use case. They can't find one because they don't have enough experience with it yet. Or I think they're thinking a little too big to start.
Yeah.
And I really want them to do that crawl, walk, run, right? Where let's slow down. Let's work on some little problems first and get really good at this and really comfortable with it before we dive into these big ones. And then, if their data is no good, it's only going to be as good as that. So I think we have an opportunity now to say, here's the problem we want to solve.
Mm.
And we're going to solve it a year from now, because we're going to spend the next year collecting data on it.
Yeah. Do you ever send your ideas out to a third party to build something larger than you have the ability? Do you have the ability to code solutions and everything?
So I would say I have two partners that I work with
Okay.
that can build if it gets out of sort of what I'm able to do.
Yeah.
The first question we get whenever I introduce these is, cool, can I connect it to my ERP system and have it start doing stuff? It's like, well, number one, what's the stuff you want it to do?
Right. Do we need to?
Do we need to? And two, are we sure you want to start there? Can we start with some little thing that's wasting your guys' time and solve
Yes.
that problem? And I think leadership is spending a little too much time saying they're going to come up with what the solutions are, right?
Mm.
And instead, they need to give the tools to their team, because they don't leadership doesn't know what all these small problems are.
Yep.
The things that are costing their people time. One of our tools that's the biggest hit is just a tool to review material certs when they come in. And
Mm.
all we're doing is checking that cert, which if you've ever looked at one, they're like the worst document ever, right? It's like a copy of a copy.
Yeah. Yeah. You can
And
barely read it.
yeah, and either you're expecting your receiving inspection person who may not really be qualified to look at those properties, or you're bringing your engineer to come do it and wasting his time, or worse, you're not looking at them at all. And so if we can run it through a tool, instantly check it versus the spec and get a go no go, that's a great alternative. Now, look, if I'm building nuclear parts, I still might have somebody look at that thing.
Yeah.
But if I could check it the second it hits our dock versus 3 months later when my engineer has time, we can address it right away. So I like this idea of speeding those kind of processes up and looking for opportunities where we're doing that. Contract review, I think, is a huge one. I mean, it's perfect for that, right?
Thank you. Yep. Did that a year ago.
All right. And so what I like to do is build your quality system into the back end of this tool.
Mm.
So it's comparing their supplier quality requirements, their terms and conditions, all directly to your quality system and looking for the holes,
That's brilliant.
right? They're going to have a thing in there like, hey, we have a 10-year record retention policy, and what do you have, right? So it'll check that instantly and give you a heads up. We're trying to deliver a list of what are the final deliverables here, right? Because it's not just the part, right? It's the part, it's the certs, it's
The warranty. Yep.
it's all that kind of stuff. And then what are your flow downs? Because I want to catch that up front, so we make sure we do flow that down right away, right? To make sure
No
all your vendors,
surprises.
no surprises, and then hopefully we can, and I'm not sure how much you guys are getting into that sort of PPAP world and first article, like really
Mm.
deep first articles. Probably not
Not too.
quite yet.
No.
But when we're looking at those, you're talking about data packages that are, tens of hundreds of pages long that we have to deliver with parts.
Yep.
Well, if we can prep that on the front end, we're not waiting on the back end to get this thing done. And
Right.
that's one of the things that holds production up, right? We got to wait for the customer to approve this. And if we can have it ready at the end, that's a big deal. And by the way, I want you to pass it the first time. You'll get customers that push back, for, hey, you have a problem on, page 3. Okay, go fix that. Great. They won't look past page 3. So now they push it back, and you're just in this back and forth for like a month of trying to get this part to them, and you're not getting paid in the meantime. So how do we fix that up front?
Yeah, I've actually been racking my head around a schedule solution in that space. From what I heard, I actually interviewed an AI kind of implementer 2 weeks ago, and she said Claude's digging their claws into the construction world.
So I'm working on a scheduling tool, and this is the biggest problem I've worked on so far, because I would say scheduling is my customer's biggest issue, and
Yeah.
biggest issue in terms of potential risk, because they all have, I like to say, is a scheduling wizard that works for them. And
Mm.
it's like that one guy who knows where everything's at and how we should lay
That
it
used to
out,
be me.
right? And number one, that's a risk. You're right. Number two, I want to give him help. and I want to be able to stress test that schedule. And so I've been working on some tools for that. And I started really big. I wanted to see how big I could go. And like crashed ChatGPT 5, Gem. I'm crashing them all. So
Yeah.
cool. Now I know I'm probably too big. And so I got to start paring that back to say, okay, let's look at a little bit smaller scale. Let's look at a 1 month schedule instead of a 3 month schedule.
Yeah.
Right. I'm trying to include things like, who's available to do what machine, who's on vacation, when is a machine down for me? I want to get all of that.
Yeah.
Right. It's a big logic problem that people are solving right now. Let's let your ERP systems are terrible at it.
Oh, you can't even find one. Like
It's
we're a Primavera scheduler where I came from, right, in the
okay.
nuclear and fossil world. So I don't know what program you're used to running, whether it's projects or Excel or projects.
We're all over the place,
Yeah.
right? And so I mean, my team, we use some software called Scoro that's been really, really effective for us sort of on the back end, just tracking projects.
Yep.
And so I'm starting to use it for, my team of consultants. Look, this isn't just for manufacturers, right? I mean, I'm using
No,
this all
it's a
over.
construction problem.
It's service companies, right? Like, I mean, I'm out. I want to make sure how do we optimize our schedule? I just used it. I haven't shown this to my team yet, but my team tends to do full days and half days at customers, and half days can really hurt us. And so I just used it to optimize half days.
Mm,
I looked at every half day we've done in the past year, and I have the address of every one of our customers and said, hey, you did 2 half days in this area in the same month. You could have mixed those two. Let's
optimize.
optimize those, right? And so we're looking for those opportunities, and that's been really fun to kind of dive into.
Oh, I love that. I love this conversation already. I didn't even get to my first question. I do want to talk. Yeah, I want to talk more globally because I think that's going to help some
Yeah.
people so we don't nerd out the whole time. Obviously, spreadsheets, manual tracking are huge in manufacturing. What was a pivotal moment that made you say we need secure AI tools that actually work now? Did you have like a major eureka?
I would say about a year ago, I spoke at FabTech about it,
Nice.
and so I got to do a session, and we were really trying to connect potential use cases for AI, and we went into it, and it still felt like it was a little early, maybe a year ago,
Yeah,
right?
sure.
Things weren't quite working the way they are
Lots
today.
of hallucinations.
Yeah, and so I was showing people like, okay, here's some cool stuff we're doing, but it still wasn't quite there. And over the past 9 months, I got really pushed in that event to like, okay, deliver something that works. Show me something. And so that has pushed us past the line. I can tell you, my customers trying to still use Excel or use paper. I mean, like, it is my mission to get our customers to hopefully Industry 4.0. And with the first step of that is just stop using Excel and get into databases that we can access.
Mm,
Right. And so then I can use the AI tools to kind of drive that. And so we're trying to get them past that. A couple of years ago, we started an app company called 80/20 Quality, and we're trying to capture error data and just make it easy. Put it on the guy's phone in his pocket that he can take a picture and capture that problem really quickly, so we can, number one, solve it. That makes ISO happy, right? But number two, collect that data of the why, the department that's the problem, right? The reason code behind it, and then be able to trace that back, look for that 80/20 rule. So since then, now we can take that data set and drop it in. But I would say, the last 6 months, we've been looking for that solution that is secure, because that was the pushback I got with everybody. I'm like, hey, I have some stuff that's working. Yeah, but we can't put anything in it, right? Because we don't trust it. And so we found a partner that we work with now, and we build on top of. And so our platform is ledge.hats.ai. And with that tool, we're able to provide a secure AI solution. And when I say secure, it's SOC 2, it's got that login requirement, but it's also all the learning is turned off, right?
yep.
Across the board.
Nothing's going out.
Nothing's going out. It's not learning. And the trick is, and you just mentioned Claude, is we give access to multiple models, because we've learned so there's 48 models in ours. We've learned for different projects, different models work better. And
Yep.
so now we're able to sort of deploy the right model at the right time, and start to use those. You fall into the chat GPT 5 kind of, you fall into that trap. You're almost falling into, like, I just attributed chat GPT is a little bit like America Online right now, right? If you go back to the internet, right? Where, like, if you're in their bubble, you're kind of in their shell, and you just learn there and you don't get outside of that. And so I like the idea of I want to see what the new Google is, and that may be Claude, right? I don't know, but I want to have access to them so we can figure
Yeah.
out which one's the best one.
Yeah, I was just talking to a person last week about that, and they said the same thing. They said they're all gonna find their niche, and you're
Mhm.
gonna know sooner or later. We're all gonna know where to go for who, but nobody's really established a niche yet because they're not sure which direction. So it's kind of the
Yeah.
wild west.
It's the Wild West, and I see them as there's a lot of developers who are good at this. There's a lot of computer guys, but I don't know that they're where we come in is we're the connector between understanding business systems and
Yep,
being able to use the AI and putting it and looking for those use cases and developing the solution. So I think that's what's sort of missing from it right now.
agreed.
And the AI
It's a
companies are like,
communicator. Yeah,
yeah, it's like, I'll make you they don't know. They don't know manufacturing, they don't know this kind of business, and so they don't know what solutions need to be made, right? We're early internet, and we're all just looking at websites, right? And so now we're all trying to figure out, okay, let's start showing what those solutions are. My goal is always, we build a lot of tools, and it's not because I'm trying to build the perfect tool for anybody. I just wanna plant seeds of possibilities and then let people say, "Oh, well, here's how that would work for us."
yeah. No, you're dead on. It was so interesting when I was talking to that individual, which is really in the computer phase. We're talking just like this, where I was talking about practical places we're trying to use it. And they were like, our brains aren't even there in your headspace of like,
Yeah.
we're worried about design and everything. And like, you guys are applying it to like real world things. And I was like, well, come over to this side. The pool's
Yeah.
warm. Like, we need help.
Yeah, exactly, right, and the interest is through the roof, right, like,
Yeah.
so I gave that speech at FabTech, and then I've probably done it, like, 30 times since then, and I've
Sick.
never given the same speech twice because you can't, right, like, every week you gotta update. And
Yeah, dude, you must be online all the time researching.
yeah, well, you know what, there's some really good there's one called the AI Daily Brief that is awesome, like,
Okay.
20 minutes a day, and I tell you, that has really done a great job of keeping me up to date, but I'm just messing with it, and, like, I don't know about you, but the way I learn software is just messing with it.
Agreed.
Right? And so I gotta get in and play with it, and that's where I say, "Okay, I wanna build this new tool. What's my game plan?" And then I build it. I'm like, "I didn't like how that works. Let's see how I fix it and go a different route." And so I've been doing all that testing so we can then deploy it to people.
Do you have a specific process or formula that you pretty much always use no matter the problem?
Ooh. No, I would say your comment about Claude is dead on. I really appreciate how it writes. And
Yeah.
so I would
Very
say,
legalese.
yeah, I don't like how ChatGPT 5 writes, to be honest with you.
It's very
So I've actually,
conversational. Yeah.
yeah, and so I've been focusing a little more on using Claude, and I've been really focusing on cleaning up that prompt to be very specific. And then at the
Mm.
end of my prompts, asking where it made stuff up. So on my welding prompt, I'm really focused on saying, "Give me a percent confidence you are." Like, come up with your
Ooh.
confidence, because I want say I deliver that to your team, if you just read what AI tells you, you think it's 100% confident, right? But you get to the bottom of that and it says, "Oh, it's 65%." Now, okay, I'm the engineer. I can't go with a 65%
Yeah.
answer. And so, but then what I do is I said, "What would make you tell me what would give you more confidence in this?" So it says, "Give me more pictures, give me a weld procedure, give me those kind of things." Cool. If I can do that, I can
Build
get it
that
up.
in.
Yeah, and now we're starting to build that confidence and have better answers coming out. I would say one of the things people are asking a lot for is delivering me a finished document. And I don't know, the documents coming out of ChatGPT like look nice the first time, but good luck if you like try to put a space in somewhere. Like it's like a Word document that just explodes.
Yeah.
And
It's like a
so, all right, and so I'm trying to say, you know what? I think you're better off getting the content and pulling it out and put it in your own templates and things like that.
totally agree.
But I think it also forces the review,
Yeah, true.
right? Because I don't want people to just say like, "Oh, it's done, download, send." Right? That worries me.
Mm.
So I don't mind a little bit of forced review for your team to be able to do that. And then have you guys really put in an AI policy yet? Like what can people do, right? What tools do they have access to?
Yeah, it's really funny you say that because I was reading an article about like that's one place to start. Get in your handbook, close the loop, all of those things. There's probably only, like the people who are really digging in and maybe using data as maybe 3 or 4 of us, but then we're providing solutions. But I just sent out a top 15 ways to use Microsoft 365 and Copilot to make your J easier, right?
Yep.
Okay, so that just starts the conversation of I'm going to take an email, which then that gets into a problem. So then we got to add a policy. So no, have not yet, but it is on my docket, which I'll
Well,
just put
they
it
say the
into.
number is 50% of employees are using unapproved AI tools.
Yep,
Okay, and if that's the case, I feel like we got to give them. I don't want to stop them,
correct,
but I want to put guardrails around it. So I want to give
correct.
them a tool that we're comfortable with. So they're not giving away the farm. They understand what we're trying to do, but I also want to encourage them to go use it.
Totally agree. What so you were talking about how you go through your questions to like I love that part of building process solutions and solutions in general in it because it's like just having a really great conversation with someone who's smarter than you and you just keep asking why do you can everybody do that or is there a specific set of is there a person or a skill that you've noticed that makes some people better than others?
Do you ever hear that like you're really good at Google? Like for some reason, my wife always tells me like, "Why are you better at Google than me?" Right? And I feel like people who have gotten good there are going to get really good at AI.
Mm,
And I think it's learning what those inputs, and I think engineer minds are great for this because we really think on that process level. And I'm looking for it to you got to be willing to ask it what's going to go wrong with this, what are the risks of doing this, and I would say not jumping to AI's right, let's roll with it. But I do like your comment of who's going to be good at it. I don't know. I'm very interested to see how I have 3 kids and to see how they are able to embrace it. I would say they're still banking on dad to do a lot of that.
yeah,
But a couple weeks ago, I was editing a video for my son plays lacrosse, and he wanted me to take some videos of him for he wants to be recruited, and so we're working on that. And it's like,
sure,
okay, I'll take videos for you, bud. And I was kind of struggling. Video editing isn't my thing, and my son jumped in and he's like, "Dad, you're taking forever. I'll fix it." And that was the first time that's ever happened. And I was like, "Oh." So he's getting it, and he's going
yeah,
into high school, and it's funny to see his mind working that way because 'cause they're gonna be killer at this. Our school district just asked me to look at their AI policy, and I'm
mm,
really happy about that because they're not completely saying you can't use it. They're giving
yes.
the kids the opportunity, and that's what we need to do is train people to be good at AI.
So, so with the children aspect, I've been hearing a lot of news around like cognitive and deterioration. And do you have any thoughts around that?
Yeah, I would say, I'm very happy with the way our school district put it in place where they give the teacher has the ability to say you can use AI and you can't, and learning when to do that.
Mm,
I've taught some engineering classes over at Elizabethtown, and when I do that, there are times when I'm fine with them to use it, right? We're talking about a problem in class and they start prompting and getting answers. Great. But if we get to a test and I really want to test their knowledge and more, you can't give them a fact problem anymore. You have to give them
situation.
problems, right? That make them think through those situations. And by the way, I just give them paper and make them write it. So there's ways you can enforce that. You need to be creative, but yeah, we have to. You can't let them rely on it. And honestly, that's a problem for all of us. We all have to think about if we rely on it too much, that's a problem. On the flip side, I mean, how good are you at reading a map nowadays? Right? I mean, I'm going to use a GPS going everywhere. So there are times when you think about
It
what
just
these
fades away.
technologies have done. Yeah, yeah,
So I've never heard anyone talk about that problem with the solution of you just have to change the way you're testing their knowledge. So if I think about that versus when I was in school and now, if all of my tests were situational, those are always harder. We used to only get one or two of those on a test,
yeah.
right? Because they're really difficult. So if you're saying now you can use the resources that are available, but I'm going to give you situational, that's life.
Yes, absolutely.
It's
You
no
know,
longer memorization.
no, and memorization doesn't get them anywhere, right? And so that's the one of the best parts because I'm an engineer and I love physics, right? And it wasn't I despised chemistry and biology because I felt like I just had to memorize everything,
Yes.
right? But with physics, I could understand it, I could figure it out on a test. And so I think for the engineering mind, that's awesome. And that's how we have to challenge them is
Mm.
give them those kind of problems. So one of the things I would always do is one of my finals was I would say, "Hey, here's what you're building. Give me all the potential risk." That's all I want you to do is build that FMEA, right? That failure risk and that failure risk assessment so we can really look at what the potential problem is going to be. And I want you to find like 10 potential failures and just I want to see their thinking, right? And so that's interesting on the teacher side because it's not just thinking about how do you say it? It's not just thinking about I can look for this fact and know that they got it right. You have to evaluate, are they thinking the way I want them to think? Kind of like I don't care what their answer is as long as they're giving me the direction I was expecting them to go.
Yeah, and I'm not going to generalize that every approach is going to be that way, but if the general consensus is we have to change our teaching to that approach, I think that will pay unbelievably exponential dividends back on future generations.
100%. Yeah. And I think it's a good opportunity. I, I would say we probably learned from the internet early, right? Like we're all that age, right? This happened soon enough that we learned that them telling us don't use the internet for research was not a viable answer at the time. Okay, and so now we recognize that, and I see at least our school district here, and I see the college doing that. So how do
Mm.
you continue to do that? I'm on the advisory board for engineering at Penn State, and that's something we really preached to the engineering uh, staff this year. Was you can't say no to this. You have to show them the use cases and the yes and no with this, right? And there's times for it, and there's times not for it, but you can't just turn it off.
Have you figured out any estimating solutions yet?
Yeah, I built a tool for a CNC shop as just a starting point. I can tell you, I don't love how it processes drawings,
Yeah,
and
I
so
heard
I
it's not
haven't
there yet.
seen a really, really good tool for that yet. There are specific tools out there for
Yeah.
processing drawings that I think are built for that, and I think that is a solution. What I've built is more around it has all our pricing in the background. Enter your times and enter those kind of things, and it's easy to update and enter your the cost of heat treat and how many parts can go together, all
Yeah.
those kind of things, and then we can come up with a price. I think that's a great starting point of using AI as an opportunity to do that. Where I see it interesting is more in the financial analysis. I think it
Mhm.
can be really strong there for sensitivities. And when I say that, I have a tool that does like a 13-week cash flow projection, right? But I've layered in, you can say, but run it again if my cost of goods goes up 5%, right? And so think about initially like doing these immediate like scenario checking. Think
What if
about that.
scenarios?
What if scenarios? Think about that with your scheduling tool, which this is
Yep.
where I really want to get to. Your customer calls and says, "Hey, can we pull that in by 2 weeks?" And your guy can be like, "Full job XYZ in by 2 weeks. What does that do to us?" And oh, we need 2 hours of overtime to make that happen. Great. Now you can tell the customer the price and get them an answer like that, make the adjustment and go. I think that is going to be a game changer in speeding up production and getting things layered in the right way.
Yeah, on the construction side of things, what's so fascinating about that to me that customers I could never get that across is one day moving something could affect 12 or 13 contractors, right?
Yeah.
But to be able to have the because running what if scenarios through an actual scheduling tool manually is painful.
Oh yeah. Terrible.
Like, it's for
Terrible.
like
But
10,000 activities, and inside of there, not all of them are affected, but it'll affect the logic for all of them.
yeah.
And like, if you have to do 3 of them in a day, that is a really hard day to get through. So
Yeah.
if you could have that automatically done and then just say, "Do you wanna make the decision? This is
Yeah.
how much it's gonna cost you."
Yep.
Or you could have change order conversations at the same time you're having schedule conversations.
Exactly. Well, I'll tell you, so I built a proposal tool for my team, right? So we can, and all I did was I used a year's worth of my proposals. I have a pricing table and things like that. So while we're on the phone talking to a customer about doing a new ISO implementation, we got their price already, right? And so, imagine how quickly you can turn somebody into a customer before they get off the phone, they already know what it's going to cost. They're not waiting on a
Yeah.
proposal for a week, right? And so, you people don't go and look for 3 other quotes because they are comfortable with you, the
Yeah.
price is in line and they move forward,
You
right?
don't
And
even
so
give them an opportunity to go do that. My problem with that is we're not a commodity base, we're a custom metal fabrication, so it's
okay.
so hard because I don't have this dashboard table behind everything that just says X equals this amount.
Yep.
And it's so when they come up with the drawings to bombs, I'm gonna be so pumped. Or just like, because I've asked a couple AI people this, like, you remember the bar game at the corner that is this picture and this picture, find 12 different things, but they look the
Yeah.
same? I want that just for the return submittals, right? Because they're 400 pages long. The engineers don't tell you where they changed something, and you have to
Oh,
go through and comb that.
that's brilliant. So we did that in a similar way. I have a customer that does work for a defense contractor, and they get a purchase order once a week. And then
Hmm.
the next week they get their new purchase order, which is a revised version of the previous one, right? But it's like 400 line items, right?
Yes.
And so they have to go through each one. So we just built a PO comparison tool. We just bring in both of them, tell me by line what changed and what didn't. And now they don't have to go through that.
Can
And
you
so
do it with pictures?
I would love to test it. I would say it depends on the complexity of the picture.
Yes. That's what
But I would
everybody
test
keeps
it,
telling
right?
me.
Yeah. I haven't had good luck with it messing with GD&T, right? I've tried to say, can you
Yep.
pull this in? And then now, look, there's really good software out for some of that, right? When you look at doing that first article inspection and creating your first article report, we've started to use software called Discuss for that, right? That we can grab a print and it will literally bubble print it, right? And pull those dimensions down. And that's using some intelligence that exists. That's way better than what ChatGPT can deliver. It just doesn't. It's
Yeah.
not there yet. And so I would say it's honestly hasn't been built for that purpose yet. At some point, somebody's going to build it with manufacturing in mind, but it's really been built for coders right now. So
Yes. From what I've heard so far, there is a solution out there more for the wood industry or carpentry because their commodities and units are so similar. And so
yeah,
they can build the database behind that and it'll always be the same words on the drawings.
yeah,
Unfortunately, in steel, we don't do that. So it's all over the place. And they said like there's nothing to reference
yeah.
because the
Yep.
database would be so huge. But they said if they get to a point where it's not just reading language, it can read objects and pictures, then that's where you could plug in a DWG and roll with it.
Yeah, that'll be. I mean, that's going to be the game changer right there. But
For
it's
everything.
interesting for everything. It'll be interesting to see what it does to prices because you're going to see competitive pricing in that market because people can crank out quotes really fast then, right? So that'll be interesting to see what that does to the whole market because it's going to be tough. You
Because
see
it'll
it
be
with CNC
volume.
world. Yeah, it'll be volume. You see it with the CNC world now. I mean, I see there's so many CNC. Great example, the laser guys, right? 10 years ago, 20 years ago, having a laser was a big deal. Now everybody's got one,
Yep.
right? So that is a super competitive market now.
Yep.
And so it's interesting to see how that has changed over the years and then the direction people are trying to go. More and more of our CNC customers are shooting for med device work or aerospace work because the dollars are still there, right? But if you're doing OEM work, I mean, they're pushing you so hard on price.
Mhm.
It's really hard.
What's going to be interesting is the non tangibles that proposals will need to stand out in the crowd of just the price. Because if we all get to that point, partnerships, relationships are going to reign supreme,
Mhm.
especially in our world, but we also do install. That'll be a competitive advantage. But then on the install side, do I have to babysit you? Do I not? What does
Yep.
that look like? How good are you running projects? How much can I rely on you? Because engineers are getting younger, project managers are getting younger in our customers' facilities and they just don't have that experience yet to run a huge project, usually like they're being handed.
Yeah, and I see it in machining and that defense world. That's a great example of the guys who are going to go through CMMC. You guys don't do any defense,
Mm-mm.
right? Okay, so there's some new cybersecurity requirements coming, and small manufacturers are really struggling because it's
Sure.
really expensive.
Yep.
The audit alone, look, an ISO audit's going to run you 5-10 grand,
Yep.
right? Um, the CMMC audit is like $50,000.
Yep.
Okay, and when you're a $2-3 million shop, good luck, right? I mean, that's a good bit of your profit margin every year
Yep.
in CNC machining. So I see it as a big hurdle for those guys going forward, and that's exactly what's going to happen, right? Is those kind of things are going to hurt the small guys. So
Mhm.
they're going to have to find alternatives. And I see the guys who are embracing it and who are willing to go out and spend that money. They're going to get a lot of work, right? And look, there's not enough defense contractors around right now, right? I
It's
mean,
very true.
when you look at you were at the Manufacturers Association yesterday, you said, right? And I mean, they got $6 million from the Navy for a reason, right? This area is the biggest supplier of subparts.
I saw that. I saw that huge submarine situation going on, and it'll
Yeah,
be interesting to see how they'll start asking locals who aren't in that world, and being like, "Hey, we need help. would you be interested? This is what you need. Is this something you'd want to take on?
Well, so you guys would be well positioned because of your ISO 9001 cert. That's where you're getting into the aerospace. The AS9100 is good, but it's that IT systems requirement, right? So the cybersecurity stuff gets pretty tight where you're probably going to have dollars, maybe more, just in the implementation, and then at least another 50 for the audit.
Yep.
And so when you're a small guy, it's hard to see that you can afford that and make it happen.
Yeah, actually, that's so interesting because one of my Vistage members, he runs a cybersecurity for government contracts specifically. So I hear this language now. I'm comfortable with it because I've heard him
Yep.
talk for 3 or 4 years, and it's just something we haven't dealt with, but mostly because we haven't gotten into that. But with some of these huge contracts coming into the area, it's interesting.
Yeah, I would say we get asked a lot about that. I'm not an IT security guy. We're really quality and process and systems
Yep.
focused. And so we really have great partners that we refer to, and there's a pretty good network for it. I'm a little concerned on the funding side that I think
Mm.
there could be some more funding for these small guys. If you want them to stay in, you need these manufacturers. That's an area that there could be
You
some.
can't run them out for sure. And whether that's like a grant or something from the state or from the
Yep.
government, that's going to be need to be looked at. Maybe
Yeah,
a,
and can
a
we
revenue cap or something.
Yeah, when you pass the audit, you can get a reimbursement or something. I think that would be a great way to incentivize them to go through those things.
My mind hasn't stopped since we started talking. And I've gotten to one question. These are my favorite podcasts because it's just
That's
stuff I'm
great.
really passionate about. And I love talking. I mean, you know way more than I do. And just hearing the process and what people are doing and what people are getting into. It always surprises me how much people are still a little nervous about it.
Yeah.
But most of it's like you could go down a road, you'll try something and go, "Oh, I don't really like that." And I'm like, just keep chipping away. So I'm so happy you said that you laid tile because I tell people this all the time. Like I am mechanically incompetent, but what's hilarious is my dad can literally build anything.
Yeah.
So I'm not good with the tape measure. I don't understand any of this world, but I now have the confidence, and I'll get super nerdy here, is to hang up my 4 lightsabers on my basement wall, and I can do it and spread
Yep.
them out perfectly because I took a picture of the wall. I said how long it was because I did measure it. I said, okay, what are the fractions? What does this mean? And then it told me how to spread it out, what anchors to use based on the weight of them. Like
Yeah.
it gives me so much confidence to try things that I would be so frustrated by.
Yeah, and so I'm using that, even in business. I've been marketing more now just because I'm able to
Let's
think
go.
through, right? Than I ever have. I'm writing articles, I'm posting weekly, I'm
Yep.
doing a monthly newsletter that I've never been able to do before. I'm generating so much more content because I have a partner to help me think through that. And hey, give me some ideas for this, or let's work through that and see how I can apply it to this customer. And boom, now I've got an article out of it.
Yes.
And so that's been really good for us. I can tell you we got a new customer in Wisconsin this year because they they asked ChatGPT to use and it said use us.
I was wondering, so my marketing team actually said, "Hey, we're prepping your website for LLM instead of SEO, like
Yeah.
or whatever it's called on the chat side so that we're pulled into that,
Yep.
manufacturers in the US that have this much space because we also have a virtual tour and it can go find that and read on the website, right? And all that kind of stuff." So,
Well, I think you're probably positioned pretty well because you're generating content. For
all
right
the
now,
time.
right? It's not pay to play right now.
No,
Right now, right? I mean, that's going to come, but
unfortunately.
for right now, it's not pay to play, and so they will be able to find you if you're a content creator. And I spent a lot of years writing blogs, right? I wrote a
Mm.
lot of blogs for the Business Journal. And I've just hosted them and posted them, and sometimes too, like, why am I even doing this, right? But I just felt like I needed to get it out, and now I'm so glad that I did it
Yeah,
because
you
I
got
can
a library.
yeah, exactly, and I'm able to refer to that and say, and so it's finding them and pulling data out. You kind of get mad at Google because when you think about it, if somebody asks a question and the answer is on your website, they're just telling people, right? It's in that summary at the top, and they never drive to your website. So it'll be interesting to see how they have to shift in this because I'm sure as heck not going to spend as much on Google ads as, I don't need to be the top of Google now. I need to be the first name it comes up with when they ask, who's the expert in this.
I love that you said marketing. I think so. I wouldn't be able to be into half the shit I'm in without AI. Like
Yeah.
I mean, I'm going to be honest here. I haven't written an actual podcast question since I started this thing.
Oh,
because of my
Absolutely.
process allows me to put in the data that I
Yep.
need to go make engaging questions. Just like when I do YouTube videos, I don't write scripts anymore.
Yeah.
I talk about what I'm going through, what like I do a lot of our vacation travel trips, and then I review the places we go, and I'll say these are all my highlights from my trip. Is what I like, what I didn't like, and then I want it to be this engage. This is my engagement. I give it all my analytics from my channel. It knows the age range it's going after. It tells me what music to use because of
Yeah.
the age range, how to Dude, you know what? I didn't even realize it said most of your audience is going to watch on a television because of their age range. And I was
Oh,
like,
interesting.
they said, so don't zoom in and out. Don't get poppy. Don't do all the Mr. Beast stuff because your audience is going to want to feel the longer 5-second clips to be in that moment. And I was like, this is brilliant.
So I've started using. I've been speaking a lot, and so I've been encouraged. Hey, start recording them, and then I started using Opus,
Yep.
which is pretty strong
Yep.
because I'm not that good at video editing yet,
Mhm.
right? And so I drop it into Opus, and it helps me cut it up the way I want it to, and put the words over it, and then it ranks those clips to say this is the one you should put up.
Yep.
And so that I would say that's been really helpful. And look, I now have a team that's helping coach me through this,
Yeah.
and having the sort of having the thought that you learn very quickly that you're not the expert in that, but you can become the expert. And so they've coached me through what cameras to use, what microphones to have, and things like
Mhm.
that. And then I can go execute and set things up, and so we're working through all that in ways that we've really been able to expand. And I would say over the next year, I will really see the fruits coming
Yep.
of that. Right, but that's all hustling, right? You're always
Dude, I post 5 days a week, man. I get it. But I'm 2 months ahead all the time. Like I just
yeah,
schedule all my posts out because some days you just don't have the time. But when you do, you post twice. Biggest thing for me, I don't think people realize on LinkedIn, I don't even do a good enough job at it, is responding to people's posts will get you probably faster engagement than posting your own stuff.
yeah, yeah. I think you're right, and I probably don't quite do enough of
Me
that.
neither.
Right? And it's a tough one. We've really tried to use LinkedIn, um, probably primarily compared to Facebook or any of the other ones because it's just so right up our alley, and I can target the people that I really want to target, but it's expensive to market on. And
Yeah.
so I think you're way better off spending some time doing those kind of things and posting videos and posting original content. The videos have really driven a lot. The
Yep.
videos I get the most play on are anything to do with family, things that feel really real. So I would say like 2 years.
Storytelling.
Right. And so 2 years ago, I had to go to an event and I had to speak at it. It was for a group called Leadership York here. And somehow my daughter, who was like 3 or 4 at the time, just I didn't have anywhere for her. So she was gone with me. And so I'm up speaking and she decides she's got to be with dad. And so somebody snapped a picture of me and
Oh,
it's
it's
her
brilliant.
hanging on my leg as I'm talking. And I have to tell you, I've never gotten more hits.
Yeah.
Right, and so it's like, great, my daughter drives more traffic than I do,
Hey, man.
but, those kinda like that being trying to be real like that, I think is really strong. You do a
Yeah.
great job of that too, and so
Oh,
you
thank
can
you.
see, like, you bring that passion and it's not I've learned I cannot read into the camera, right? I just can't, it just sounds too stale, so these kind of things where we just get to talk is way better.
So let me ask you a couple of things about speaking because I am fascinated about it. I want to get into it because I'm like a culture monster. I could talk about culture like forever.
Yeah.
And I have a weird feeling about culture and kind of how to get it there. And I saw, I don't know if you use the glasses that have the prompters in them that
No.
connect. So they connect to your phone and you can put your entire speech on there so you can have the highlight reel, just like a
That's
computer
cool.
prompter. And they're green. Nobody can see from the outside. They're actually only inside the lens. And I was like, well, if I have to do, like an hour's, it's a long time, especially it's my first one and it'd be a little scary. So I was like, maybe I'll just because apparently these glasses are used by you can see once you see them, you'll never unsee them on everyone who's doing huge speeches. So they're like all over TEDx's and stuff. So it's pretty
When
funny.
I do, like, the AI talk I've been giving, I get it so much that I wouldn't wanna read that one, because I
Yeah.
really have to read the room and get their kind of what is the room like before while I deliver that. You almost have to see how much are they nodding along, how scared do they look?
Yeah.
And so for that topic, I don't need it, right? I just did one went about a half hour, right, give or take, and that's what they wanted to keep me to. People stayed for an hour afterwards and asked me questions.
Yep.
And that, so it's really the like topic for us that this one's really easy. I did a keynote last year up at Penn State and for the industrial engineering. grads. And while I was there, like that one had me more nervous than going in front of professionals and talking about AI because I really, it's just a different delivery. What really helped me was teaching. So I, taught these classes. So I'm in front of kids and I really got, you know, kind of more used to it and
Yeah.
and felt a little better about my presentation there. And then doing as many of these. So if people ask me to do a podcast or do any, I will do them because I just want the reps.
Yes.
Right. So even if it's one I'm not sure it's like worth it, I'm gonna probably do it because I love getting the reps and I'm just getting better at it every time.
No, I think that is so brilliant. I actually love being on the other side of the mic as well because I think it's really good practice. This has made me so much better at listening all over the place. And I went into it. I started doing this because I don't like going to mixers. I don't golf. I hate being out of my house when I'm not at work. So like this is my happy place right here. I
Yeah.
video game right there. And so this allows me to stay relevant and also make real connections with people because it's hard to hide for an hour. You can kind of
Yep.
get to know people pretty well. And I have 80 hours that people, if they want to go work for
Mhm.
us, can go see what it's like to hear me. I'm the same person almost every episode. So like you get if you like it or you don't.
I think it gives people my team has been really encouraging of me diving into the AI thing, right? And because they see the potential for us and for the company, but also really appreciative that I'm trying to think in the future of where we're gonna go.
Mm,
And so by doing what you're doing, right, and showing people here's the path we're going, and here's what I'm thinking, and making sure they're kind of on the same page as you, I think that's really powerful. I agree on the mixer thing. Mine is I'm okay going to them, but I just don't have the time. I've got 3 kids, and no offense if it's go to a mixer tonight or hang out with my kids. I only get so many more years with them. And
yes.
so I want to do more. We're going to the Revs game tonight, right?
Nice.
And so those kind of things we really try to do. And so I have a team member that can go to more mixers than I can, and so but I try to go when I can, but it's tough, right? So I do go to the big ones, but I can't make them all anymore.
Well, you're going and talking on them, so you don't have to go to
I
them.
can go talk. Yeah, that's a different story. I'm doing. It's funny you mentioned I'm working on the wood products. They have a conference
Okay.
in Lancaster, and they asked me to do a keynote about AI. And so your comment about they have their own maybe tool that I could. I'm going to go do some research. So I have something, but
Yeah,
I have a bunch of them scheduled for the fall because people have seen it, and now they just want somebody who's actually using it come to talk.
it's really good. Yeah, there's a lot of noise with it, and I think I love having AI people on here to talk about it because I literally turn around and then just work with them because it's
Yeah.
like and then I'm giving like the first AI partner I had on here, I think I'd given him like 15 clients because I'm just like there's so like I get DMs every day about it. And
Yeah.
I understand there's probably a ton of amazing partners out there, but at the same time, I want you to work. Like I asked almost all of them, like you can come on and talk about it if you're really passionate about it. And you'd be surprised about how many people that say no. And I'm like, well, then maybe you're not that passionate about it. Like,
I had a customer yesterday who we gave him a good quote for it, and they're like, "It's a little much." And I was like, "Look, understand, it's expensive." I said,
yeah,
"But when you look at the reality of where we're heading," and I ended up with like this really long email this morning about it, and I apologized. I said, "Sorry, I'm just really passionate about this, and I want you to be prepared because this is coming, whether you're going to invest or not. And when you think about the investment that you can make into AI of $5,000 or $10,000 here, it's pretty low compared to a robot, and everybody in your business can use it." And so I think it's an opportunity that there's going to be things that you have no idea about. And
mm,
that question is, what's the ROI? We have no idea, but it's probably incalculable, right? And so let's think about that as more of a this is a really wide tool that your whole business can use, and that's where you can get people on, like get everybody using it and thinking about it versus that sort of top down. Here's our new software. Here's how we use it, guys. No, no, no. This is here's the software, guys. You tell us what you need, and we'll build it.
yeah, I don't understand the ROI question because it's literally hours times however many employees you have.
Thank you. Exactly.
I don't get it. Like it is that simple. It's you just take really task heavy things that irritate your team and wipe them away.
Yeah,
And then guess what? You go say, do this other thing that's more valuable.
I just took a scientist, and he was spending 2.5, 3 hours creating some documents after he made a project, and we've eliminated that. What do you think that time's worth? Every time he does that, that's probably 2 or 3 times a day. why
Another
work?
invention.
Yeah. And so it's really becomes a no-brainer, but you gotta get people so I've actually a lot of the sales we've done, I've had to build them that first tool to help prove the ROI so leadership would be like, "Okay, we get it." Right? All right, I'll build the first tool for you if that's gonna get you over the hump. But, that's not where it really should be coming from. And, some of them take a long time. I'll build a simple one for them, but once they
Sure.
see it, they're in.
No, yeah, I'm 1,000% with you. And I think part of it's just like even presenting some to my own team of like, hey, you don't have to do that anymore. Just put it in here. Like when we did
Yeah.
the contract review, like I did the first 11 to make sure it was
Oh, yeah.
getting what we needed. And then I handed it off to my sales team. And they're like, what do you mean we're doing it? I'm like, it'll take you a half an hour to 45 minutes to go through this. So yeah, they're good. Well,
Or they're not
one,
doing it, which is really scary, by the way.
well, a lot of our customers said there's a lot of red on here. And I said, it was actually way better than what we used to do,
Yeah.
but it had all of our same boilerplate stuff in there. It just said it's black or white. You either want it or you don't. So the
Yep.
bot doesn't care. It's just telling you don't put it in there. So it was
Yep.
really funny. We had to actually scale it back a little bit because our customers were getting a little upset. We're already at an hour, so I don't want to take your time away. Where where can I find you? Where can I go talk to you and talk about future things? Where can everybody find you? Where do you like everybody to go to find you?
All right. So number one, look me up on LinkedIn. It's Adam Marsh. At Ledge Inc. You can always go to ledgeinc.com. You'll see things about our quality services, our AI services. You can schedule meetings with us. We are
Okay.
more than happy to jump on, talk about use cases, and see if we can find one for your business that fits. So our team loves to do that, and we're spending time really helping manufacturers, whether that's on the quality side, helping them implement new systems so they can get new customers, helping them stay current with their system, or even being a fractional quality manager, all the way over to delivering them software solutions. So
Mm.
we're becoming this service provider where we look at systems and then find the solution for that system. That's where we're really getting good, is looking at operating systems and looking for those things we can tweak to make it better, faster, higher quality.
One last question. Have you seen the AR goggles in the quality world now that people can wear that the drawings are right in the eyeglasses and they overlay? Have you
Yeah. So, all right. So I'm working on some knowledge capture right now. Okay. And I have this kind of crazy idea that I want to build. And one of the things I was pushed about was, well, we could just put on these VR headsets on our production workers and we'll capture things that they're doing. And my first thought is the production workers I put that on are going to throw it in the trash can really fast.
Yep.
And so I'm really careful to see what direction are we heading with that. I think it's cool. I'm cautious on, is it more work than it's worth, right? And so and that's actually a really interesting question, is we don't just want to use AI for the sake of AI. We got to see the real value coming out of it. And I haven't seen them, unless you're in an assembly situation,
Sure.
right? That you're doing high volumes. And I tend to work with customers that are lower volume. It's just like justifying a robot. It's really hard to spend the time to do all that for what you get out of it.
Yeah, I love that. So the conversation I had with the AI person last week, they were heading into like a meta conversation, and I bought a pair of Ray-Ban Metas because one, I take a lot of video and they have the cameras in them, and I wanted the translation portion. And I said to them, "Can you tell them in there to put safety glass in it with side shield so I
Oh,
can wear it in the shop because we are getting into spaces that I need to translate with some of our team members
yeah.
in the field or in the shop, and I want to feel like I know them. And then
Yeah.
also, I can use the cameras in the face and not
Oh
have
my
to."
gosh. Yeah.
And
That's
they were
true.
like, "Wait, what do you want?" I said, "I just want safety glasses out of these things so I can actually use them in the shop because I got to put
Yeah.
them on over my safety glasses and I can't say anything. It's annoying."
Oh, that's a nightmare. Yeah, that's that's a no. There's some really cool applications there, but I'm cautious on the big guys are going to be able to use them. The guys doing tons of assembly are going to be able to. So great, but how does that help the smaller guys? I'm always careful on what are we going to use that adds the value, and we
Yeah.
still need those people who are just kick butt in the shop, and how are we training them? So our focus has
Yeah.
been on that side more and really working with guys like the Manufacturers Association, Mantech, to do that kind of training.
Yeah, that's sick. This was amazing. One, thanks for taking the time. I sorry for you had two podcasts back to back.
Oh, you're good. You're good. I'm always happy to. So if you ever want to do another one,
Yeah. Well, no, we'll have to get on a call because I want to pick your brain some more and then have you look at a couple of things. Because I'm actually, as I'm doing my Clueless CEO Chronicles, I'm capturing the process improvements that I'm seeing because that's just I'm like you, my brain works that way. I'm like seeing annoying things, and so as I'm capturing those, I'm running into roadblocks of things I maybe want to solve. So I'll give you a ring and
That'd
we
be
can have a
great.
chat.
That'd
But
be great. Look, hey, we're all about seeing what those are because it's going to be a whole industry coming with this. And if you got your head in the sand, you're in trouble 6 months from now, a year from now.
yeah, I agree. Well, Adam, thank you so much for spending an hour and 6 minutes. Hopefully, you have a good time at the baseball game tonight.
I
And
appreciate it.
yeah, man, we'll catch everybody on the next one. Thank you.
Thank you.